do more.
We shouldn't have to get kicked in the teeth to start playing.
Well, I'm tired of getting kicked in the teeth.
It's poor. That's the stuff that get you beat.
It really is about us and making sure that we're on top of what we're doing.
The best quarterback on Cleveland was Joe Flacco.
I don't know, man. That's a Kevin question.
Yeah, not good enough.
Offensive football takes all 11 guys.
You know, you got to talk with the coordinators on that.
That's not something we're talking about.
It's a player-led team. It's a player-led league.
Washington, after 4 weeks, clearly looks like the best team in the East right now.
I'm still a rookie.
Yeah, I know.
Super exciting guy to watch.
He is one of those elite guys.
Man, y'all can say whatever y'all want.
I don't care about the stats. I just want to win.
We got to eliminate bad football.
The more I'm out there, the better I'm going to get.
Why do you think it has taken these wake-up calls to get going?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is probably the best I've felt since last year.
It can definitely start something great.
Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland, the scene tonight. Today, the Browns and Commanders, don't call them the Redskins. Some people still screw that up. But that's the scene for a 1 o'clock kick today between the Browns and a team that a lot of people thought would not be very good. But all of a sudden, these Commanders are really darn good, gentlemen.
Well, a lot of it is coming from that quarterback. That rookie kid from LSU is doing a great job and great composure. I watched him play a couple of weeks ago, and he's getting great protection from his offensive line. And if they continue doing that, that could be a problem for us today. He's a good ball player.
I think the biggest weapon we can all see from this Washington Commanders team is Daniels, is the QB. And you said it. They had given the Cincinnati Bengals so much problems. He's delivered balls perfectly against opposing defenses. This is for our defense, I think, a get-back game. This is to show that our defense is still elite. They have elite players, but they haven't been showing up elite. But this is an opportunity for us to really enclose Daniels, really show that we are the team that we claim to be.
Now, in this division that we play, we have Lamar Jackson, who's obviously a very good running quarterback, and he's throwing the ball around the field a little bit. But this kid here is a much more accurate passer, and his feet are just as good. So the thing, like we said earlier, if our defensive line doesn't be able to get to him and be able to close him in, I don't know if they're going to use a spy or not, but this kid is more dangerous than people are giving him credit for. He can play the position.
But I'm interested in seeing how Jim Schwartz will approach this game. Will he send the dogs after him early to make sure he can dump it off or anything like that, or to see his capabilities early, to see exactly what we're working with, even though they know? But they need to know how he goes against a defense that's worthy, a defense that comes after him, shows him different looks. Hopefully we've done our homework a lot. Hopefully we put him in a lot of uncomfortable situations to give our offense the best opportunity.
The unfortunate part is we got a defense that has all that talent but no turnovers. I mean, I don't even know if that's ever been done before, 4 games in the season and not have a single turnover. So this is a rookie. In the old days, rookie equals turnovers. Rookie equals making him think more than he wants to think, make him second-guess what he believes in, secondary get ready to run, defensive line get ready to pass rush.
And it's interesting, you see that stat that came up on the TV, no punts. They don't really punt the ball too often. So they convert. And that's one thing Daniels does. He allows either with his feet or with his athletic ability, throwing the ball, his arm strength, or with the play calling. This Washington football team is just a different football team ran by Daniels. So it's going to be interesting to see how they will attack us and how we respond as coaches and as players.
And as offensive players, when you can convert on third down, when you can move the change, it equals points. And that's what we haven't been able to do on our offensive side of the ball, only averaging 15, 16 points a game. It won't work against Washington.
Hey, by the way, I got to mention the Clevelanders, where we are at today. They're right downtown, right on 9th. You drive past them if you're going to the stadium, the ballpark a lot. This place is awesome. Come on down. They're just getting started for a big NFL Sunday. And the Clevelanders always a hopping bar. This is one of these places you walk by downtown when there's a baseball game or a basketball game. The patio is packed. There's energy. There's a vibe. They're just opening up now, so you give it a little time, but it'll be hopping here in a little bit. The Commander offense you guys have talked about. It's funny how fast things change. everyone was talking about Caleb Williams as the hot rookie, and he's had his moments, but still not. This kid has had everyone talking. Jaden Daniels like, whoa, should he have been the first overall pick? It's fast. Things change fast in this league.
I wouldn't say that. You're drafted based off of how you play in college.
Right.
That's your resume. What you do in the NFL is what you do in the NFL. It doesn't really correlate all the time. You can ask guys like Reggie Bush that. You was amazing here, and then you're average, or you have a good games here and there at best. But when it comes to the QB position, it does matter who you play. Who have they played that can challenge them in a way that our defense right now has the ability to challenge them. Now, our defense hasn't been playing up to the level that we believe that they should be playing, but this is that game to where they can say, man, all those games before, that was crazy.
Yeah.
This is who we are. And they can really come out early and hit them in the mouth.
Yeah, you play who's on your schedule, and that's just the way that the Commanders thus far this season has played very good football. They're not beating people at the final seconds with a field goal. They're blowing people out and scoring a lot of points. That will be tough for us. One, it concerns me offensively whether or not we can even score 25, 30 points. We will have to today.
Here's our Charter Spectrum vote of today. Is the Browns season over if they lose? Cleveland19.com/vote. We will talk about that at the end of the show. The tailgate off and running from the Clevelander. Stick around. I know, and it messes with you, and there it is again. And I can't hear Chris. He's having to text me. Still on air. Still on air. Yeah. Right now. Just portions of Tailgate 19, sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. American runs on Dunkin'. I mean, right now.
Now, bench strength. sponsored by Wayside Furniture.
The best quarterback on Cleveland was Joe Flacco. The reason they don't sign Joe Flacco back is because every player in that locker room would have known by after week 4 he was the best quarterback on the team. And that would have caused a lot of that's the reason why Flacco's not in Cleveland. He should Cleveland found him, they rescued him, they put him back on the map. He did 1,616 yards, but he's not there because every player in that locker room knows he's better than Watson.
Well, okay, bench strength. We're going to shift gears a little bit here. This is from Indianapolis last week. Joe Flacco off the bench to replace an injured Anthony Richardson was great, led them to a victory, just like we saw here. How much truth do you feel is in what Mike Lombardi said? He is not here because the players would want him and not Watson.
Yeah, Reggie, how much truth is that? Because I have a different perspective from my generation, and I just want to know what you feel about that.
I think it would be split, but there would be guys in that locker room who, from the success that they had last year with Joe Flacco, will still want him around because they just haven't seen, a more pure Deshaun Watson, the old Deshaun Watson. He's played better as the weeks have gone on, but the reality is Flacco hit the ground running last year. By his third or fourth game, they were already on a streak. So, yes, it may make some problems, and I understand.
Oh, boy. I'm hearing you. Can you give me a... I need to know where to go here. I'm not even sure what's going on, so...
Mark, you got me?
I hear somebody. Who's this?
Mark's saying we can hear you, yeah. This is Harvey.
Okay, can somebody tell me what's going on here?
Mark, are you there? Mark, it's Chris. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you, but I don't think you're hearing me.
Good. I am hearing you.
Okay.
So we're 1 minute away from the break. We're going to the C block.
Okay.
We jumped out early because we weren't hearing you. The audio board got reset on air, and we had 30 seconds of silence.
Got it.
So we went to break.
Okay. So we're going to come back to injury report.
Now hearing my voice through your hold on, I'm still talking. Since we're now hearing my voice through your IFB, I cannot cue you on air. So we're picking it up with the C block. The B block's over.
Okay. We're going to these guys, and I'm going to ask somebody about, we can talk about Chubb.
Injury report.
We'll do Njoku and Chubb here, injury report.
I just want to be out there for my team. You know, I want to be out there, feeling, giving them the energy that they require, and then vice versa. And yeah, hopefully I'm out there.
What kind of lift do you think you can provide? Energy and on the field?
An energy surge. Obviously, I guess you know what I can do in the field, so I'm trying to help my team. That's all.
The Injury Report, sponsored by the man that makes them pay, Tim Misney.
All right, let's take a look at the injury report. David Njoku, it sounds like he is going to play based on what the Rappaport-type folks are saying out there. He's been such a big part of this offense, they've needed this guy back.
Yeah, first of all, I think I need to hit the gym. That's the first thing. The second thing is, absolutely, he was a Pro Bowl ball player last year. He did great with this offense. I think he's going to be a big factor if he gets back healthy.
Yeah, and this has been somebody who they needed to go to during certain points of the game when other receivers, were having issues, or when the offense has issues. No matter where he lines up, there's a mismatch. Are you going to put a linebacker on him? Well, he's faster than him. You put a DB on him, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's taller than him. So him on the field is just a necessary weapon that, without him, this offense does take a dip.
We had saw Chubb on there also listed as out. He's in this 3-week period where they can activate him, or he's out for the year, and nobody expects him to be out for the year. What would be the point of not waiting 3 weeks to bring him back?
There's a rule about you have to, he has 3 weeks, but, waiting that time period allows our offensive line to get healed and work things out more, because you don't want to bring Chubb, who's coming back fresh off that injury, trying to make a statement, into disarray. So if we're all moving at the same pace and hopefully we get this W today, it'd be a good thing to work Chubb back in on a pitch count next week.
Just like every fan in Cleveland, we love the person Nick Chubb. We love the football player Nick Chubb. We want nothing but best for Nick Chubb, but also we want caution with Nick Chubb. So I think that when he's ready, he'll roll, and not until then. And I'm glad he's going to get a chance to play this year. I hope he heals well and gives us another 5-10 years of football, because if we had 10 Nick Chubbs, we'd be 4-0 right now.
Dude, he's obviously such an unbelievable force.
Yes.
We don't know when he's going to get back. I think it'll be the 3 weeks, but we'll see.
There's a sense of ease that comes along a football team, because when you get your starters like Nick Chubb and Njoku back, guys tend to have pressure taken away from them, and it's good a feeling for the whole offense. Yeah.
All right, that's the Charter Spectrum poll. Is the season over if they lose? Cleveland19.com/vote. What's that? Chris is talking to you. Yeah, now I'm not getting him. Apparently, if I don't get the echo, I lose Chris. I have my pick. He can't hear you.
Dad, what is output that way? You're either not in. Mark, you there? Mark, hello.
I got you now.
But with the echo?
Well, the thing is with the echo, I don't know till we get on the air. I don't have it in the break, and then we hit the air and the mic goes hot, we get an echo.
This Daniels kid is great. I mean, he's running it. And give Cliff Kingsbury a ton of credit. He's doing exactly what he needs to do to take away the disadvantages of the offensive line. The fact that they're on a 3-game heater is remarkable. It really is. And they've scored on 16 consecutive drives. This is the longest streak by any team in the last 30 years. 16 consecutive drives they scored on.
Now the Pigskin Poll, sponsored by Hyundai.
All right, so the Commanders have been hot. The Browns have not. Why are they 1-3? That was the Hyundai Pigskin Poll question this week. We'll get to the results in a minute. Coaching, quarterback, and injuries. Guys, give me your – I know it's a little bit of everything, but what's the biggest reason?
Said a little bit of everything. I was going to spell out TEAM, because they share equally in it. You can't really say the biggest reason because you can go back to from the offensive line. You can say, okay, that's coaching because they should have had them guys prepared. Where's Callahan? We're missing a Callahan for that offensive line. And then when you talk about the quarterback, he would have went over 300 last week, but there were drops and there were calls by the refs. And you can say injuries too. So I can't say the biggest reason because it just doesn't lie with the quarterback. The quarterback is usually the biggest reason, but he's been playing.
The biggest reason for me is that they don't score enough points and the other team scores more points. That's kind of the way it is. The bottom line is Alex Van Pelt had this offense running much better than what Kid Dorsey has had. You've got to look at losing Bill Callahan and not being able to fix the problems. He had the same issue last year with linemen going out, and somehow they were able to still win football games, protect the quarterback, and run the football. You can go down to players, yes, injuries, all that's a big deal. We're waiting on Conklin to somehow take the field. I'm still trying to figure out how does an offensive lineman pull a hamstring? They only run 5 yards.
Exactly, in a cloud of dust.
Right, yes.
But however, that makes the point. Who are you going to talk about?
Right.
Usually when you hear coaching, you're talking about the head coach. But we both just said Callahan is the missing piece of that because the offensive line has been a big problem.
That's still coaching.
Other than the first drive of a couple of games, I have yet to see this offense look as though they know where they're headed. Like they're determined to go somewhere. They're going to score points. They always look like they're just kind of hanging around.
Okay, Reg. So based on that, I would just say coaching. And Coach Stefanski takes a lot of accountability.
Yes,
but
sir.
when we talk about they don't know where they're heading, that's identity. That means we don't have identity beyond the script. And that has always been an issue. So even though it's a team problem, even though they suffer from a conglomerate and it's a perfect storm because everything goes wrong for this team, not just at one position, we have to say coaching because in the end, that's where the buck stops. That's where it needs to be corrected.
Let's see what the folks said. We ran this poll all week on Cleveland19.com. You guys can probably guess where they're going with this. It's the Deshaun Watson issue, and that has been a very big problem. All right, how about the New York Jets? They had 5 false starts last week. I'm dying to get your guys'
It's because of their quarterback.
5 false starts. The coach says maybe it's a problem with Aaron Rodgers.
It's the problem with their quarterback. Absolutely.
Listen to this. You got to hear this. Listen to this.
We got to figure it out. Whether or not we're good enough to handle all the or ready to handle all the cadence.
The cadence specifically, Robert said that might be something you guys have to dial back a little bit. Is that something you think could potentially help the situation?
It's one way to do it. The other way is hold them accountable.
There is no cadence issue. There never was a cadence issue. It was created.
What is your relationship with Aaron now? How would you describe it?
Aaron and I are fantastic. Love the guy.
It's a cadence issue. Quarterback doesn't like that. Coach comes back. It's not a cadence issue. The media made that up.
That's coaching. So I'm going to tell you this. Anytime you have penalties is coaching. So penalties is undisciplined, players, undisciplined techniques. But false start penalties, that's coaching because that has to be practiced. We were the most penalized team before Eric Mangini became the head coach. And that's the one thing he set out to make us the least penalized team. So we worked on that. If you jumped off sides, that player left and ran a lap. And next man up came in. And we were the least penalized team under him. Now, we didn't win. However, we were the least penalized team under him. But that's coaching. You have to practice it. If you don't practice it, it doesn't
So
happen.
for Josh, no wins but no penalties. So for me, each player has to be accountable of what's important. It's always the little things. And teams that are good do the little things very well. And obviously the Jets being where they are, they're not doing the little things. They got beat up on a team last week. They didn't look good. Their quarterback looks old. I used to be a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I have left him the last 2 or 3 years because it's more about off the field Aaron Rodgers than it is on the field Aaron Rodgers. So I wish him well, but not this year.
Really quick, the only reason I say it's coaching because it wasn't the same player 5 times. And whenever you have a group of people making the same problem, what happens when it's a test and everybody fails the test? There's a curve because the problem was the teacher made it too hard. Everybody failed.
I know a lot about curves.
Exactly. So this problem is coaching with the New York Jets.
Right. That's an excellent point. Is the penalty done by the same person? All right, we are not done. We are live at the Clevelander. Come on down, say hi. We're right downtown here on 9th. Fantastic place to hold the tailgate. Charter Spectrum vote. Is the Browns season over if they lose? I'm glad 10% of the folks are Billy Joel keeping the faith. Look, we're back after this on the tailgate.
I'd be glad. Didn't make sense what they were saying. So I would answer honestly in
Now, around the AFC, sponsored by Toyota Dealers.
What did Justin show you specifically in the second half?
I think we all showed ourselves. I think we as a team showed what we can do. Not one player. Y'all always keep putting it on one person. It's the whole team, all 11 of us. Stop making it one player. Y'all keep saying Justin as if like he's the one throwing, catching, and running the guys. Like, come on, bro, it's all of us. So what do we do? What do we see? I saw us all fight, us as a team.
Najee Harris saying, quit making our offensive problems all about Justin Fields. You're just having a team conversation. I understand it's a team game on offense, but boy, that quarterback's a pretty important part over there in Pittsburgh.
Quarterback is pretty important part everywhere. But they running that Army Navy style offense right now, and it's easy for any defense to load the box up in the NFL if you can't have a robust passing attack, or at least pretend to have one. It's going to be tough sledding trying to run the ball constantly over and over in the NFL.
Yeah, they'll come back down. You can't do that. It won't last long enough. And then when they get to teams that will be able to score 25, 30 points on them, they'll not be able to play catch-up unless their quarterback, Justin Fields, gets a little bit better and comfortable and not turn the ball over. Pittsburgh is saying we can beat you with defense and not turning the football over, but when we do that, we're in trouble.
This is the docket today. Bengals, Ravens, the big one at 1 here on CBS. That is important, obviously, in the AFC North standings. And then Cowboys, do they get right against the Steelers? You guys like anything here?
I mean, you always look at our division because when it comes down to it, it matters how it doesn't matter how you start, and we're 1-3. It matters how you finish, and the Bengals are true testaments of that. But I'm looking at that Cowboys Steelers. I'm looking at alike opponents in our division, how they fare against those teams.
When we first started this season and we looked at the schedule, we thought that this would be a part of this schedule that we would have reasonable success and win some of these games. And we're having a rough time trying to get there. I'm waiting to see when this team is going to seem like a unit on special teams, offense, and defense, and work together. I mean, the average used to be 24 points. If your offense could put up 24 points, your defense can hold somebody to 17, and you win the majority of games. But we've got to be able to score points, and we're going to find out today how many can we score, because we will not win with 16 points today.
Right. All right, one of my favorite segments of the show is back. Blind Resumes. Producer Chris goes into the bag of tricks, put up some numbers on the screen. Here's the objective. We're not guessing who is who. Just look what you can see here. Who is the better player?
Oh, 6 TDs, but 5 interceptions. 145 yards rushing. I'm going to take 70%.
You're taking the guy on the right?
I'm going to take the guy on the right. Maybe they run the ball in a little more, but he doesn't turn the ball over. So all of them, those TDs get erased.
I mean, guy on the right looks better statistically right now, but this is where he's going to put, like, Joe Burrow against Justin Fields or something like that.
The rushing yards, 145. It might be one of them.
There it is. Mahomes against Fields.
I knew it.
Mahomes, I'll tell you what.
Reggie.
This number's down. Fantasy people down on Mahomes. That's a wild time.
That's the same reason why I had that curve in college right there.
I picked the wrong one.
Right.
That is amazing, though. You look at the Chiefs' passing offense, it's not what it has been. The downfield attacking is not there.
However,
winning.
What is the Steelers' record right now?
3-1.
3-1.
Yep.
That wins games. And, yes, they're doing something that we haven't. They're winning when they're supposed to. They're beating the teams they're supposed to win. They didn't beat anybody that everybody's like, oh, my gosh, how did they get past that one? They didn't do that. They're beating the Vegas teams. Not that they played them yet, but as it relates to the Browns. Right. We should have won that game. They're beating the Giants type of games. We didn't beat the Giants. And today, we're better on paper than the Washington Commanders with Daniels and how well he does. We should beat them. But that's what we have to do better. Win when you're supposed to win.
Right.
That's what they got. That's what teams have got to do to be successful, and a lot of teams are struggling at it this year. There's the Charter Spectrum vote of the day. Get on the website, vote on it. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. Next, we're talking kickoff. I can't wait to hear what Josh Cribbs has to say about what the commissioner was talking about. Stick around.
Now the Quick Picks, sponsored by Kia.
I guess if I had to grade it, I'd say it's an incomplete right now. I think we'll have to make a few changes on the kickoff that will, I think, lead to a lot more kickoff returns. I think the
touchback, moving it up a little bit, maybe.
You could do the touchback and move it to the 35. You know, I think that would be a game changer right away.
Yeah.
All right, so move it to the 35 instead of the 30 is what, and it might be more dynamic. Josh, how do you feel about the dynamicism? I'm making up a word.
The dynamicism of it. The word, the dynamic, is supposed to just relate to the fact that it's supposed to be more of it.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be more pieces to the puzzle, a lot of moving, excitement back into kickoff and kickoff return. They'll do that with their rule change. And that simply says that every time there's a kickoff, and the kickoff, there's going to be a return. Because if you don't, it's different being at the 35 than it is at the 30. That means because these kickers, they can kick 60-yard field goals now. You're one first down away from scoring points. So you don't want that guy at the 35. So you're going to force them to run it out and try to get them inside the 20 or at the 20 to make them have to go the long way. But this will force a lot of teams to kick it in within the boundary, so there is a return and they can try to stop them before they get to the 30 or the 35-yard line.
And just like anything, the first year there's going to be trial and error and trying to figure out the kinks of exactly how it's supposed to work. So obviously right now no one's happy with it, and no one really enjoys it. And you go to the bathroom when somebody's having a kickoff. But now down the road they can fix some of the kinks. Josh is a specialist. He knows exactly what he's talking about, so I defer to my man, Mr. Cribbs.
And just one more thing on that. You know, the rule before just basically eliminated. It made people just tune out to that position altogether. Yeah. But now, if he changes that rule, now the returner becomes more valuable. Now you can go get a guy specifically for that, because guess what? He's going to have the ball in his hands with one play and with the amount to get as much yards as he can, and there may be a lot more returns because of that. If you give a guy a ball 100 times, a few of those, they will score.
How many plays you got in you?
I ain't
no plays?
I played flag football at the stadium alumni, and I'm still feeling it. I still got fluid in my knees, so I'm with Reggie, man. We hung it up a long time ago.
All right, so we got the inactives. Reggie will be excited to see Jack Conklin is on it. At this point, why? They clearly screwed up. How is he not on IR? I mean, we're 4 weeks in now. If he was on IR, he started. What are we doing here?
I just find it interesting. The guy had a pectoral, and I want him to play pectoral muscle, and then they give him a $60 million contract. He tears his ACL, and now he's got a pulled hamstring. I mean, he's not playing, and he needs to be on the field. We need him. But if you got an injury, it is what it is. It's just unfortunate for this guy that he got a nice contract and he ain't playing. And like some other players do the same thing, and we hear all about it. But this guy's been sneaking under the weather.
I don't want to say as though
it's
an issue like he's pretending.
No.
He has valid injuries, and the NFL is 100% injury. It's not if, it's when. So I know he keeps getting injured, but he is in the trenches.
Yeah.
And he may not be as durable.
He played a quarter last year.
And he's in the trenches. And it's unfortunate, but if he get injured, he feels something. I make too much money to be out there on the field. I think my hammy, I get a little too much, because he can't look bad. If he's out there and he's not 100, they're going to be wondering, why did you pay this guy? So he can't take his $60 million tail out there and not look good.
Well, and I'm not being critical of Conklin for not playing when I say this. I'm critical of the team. Why wasn't he put on some list when the season started?
It's a shortage.
We were doing this every week. He was clearly not ready.
It's a shortage of offensive linemen out there. It must be. Look how many offensive healthy guys we have now, and who's replacing them? We're starting to know their names, and that's not a good thing. And again, we go back to the coaching aspect, because this happened last year when we had a lot of injuries on the offensive line, and we filled it up with guys we didn't know their name, because guess what? Callahan got them in order. And it's nothing against the new coach, but it's just when you have injuries, how well do you adapt? How well do you fill in those gaps? Maria said it on the podcast the other day. She said, come on, backups. This is your time to make a name for yourself. Yeah. And they're making a name for themselves, but it's not in a good way.
For all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
And anytime you've got that many injuries, you've got to be smart enough. And I say this for the head coach. You have to figure out a way to make these guys successful, to help make it easier for them to get something done. I don't know if it's run more, chip when they're on their way out, but this is what you get paid for. As a coaching staff, a head coach, a general manager, offensive coordinator, you create opportunities for success.
Tailgate live from the Clevelander. There's the vote on the website. Get there. We'll talk about it. Stick around.
A good football team is defined by who they how well they tackle. And we've been inconsistent in that area. Until we get that consistency, you know, we're going to play like a 1-3 football team, and we're playing like a 1-3 defense right now.
Follow the Money, sponsored by Cardinal Credit Union.
All right, so a lot of people don't realize this, but right now, if the draft were today, the Browns would be picking 5th. Now, they do have that pick. They're done with the Watson deal. This team spends a lot of money. They lead the league in cash spent this year. If that type of draft position holds with the money they've spent, somebody getting fired?
No. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to tell you why. Andrew Berry has continued to pull a rabbit out of a hat as it relates to the money. He converts. And this is, I don't mean nothing again. He launders. And I only say that because it seems like they transform the money so that it's a bonus.
Yeah.
Or he does.
Can do that. You cook the books.
I'm not saying it's bad or nothing or illegal or anything like that.
No, it's a game.
I'm just making a joke to where he finds a way to make it so they have cash when they need it. He could spend he spent a lot on Watson, but hey, guess what? It's converted. Spent a lot on Judy, but guess what? He transformed that too. So if we needed a guy, if we had to go to the draft to get something, if we had to make a trade and pay somebody, I guarantee you we'll have the money and the draft capital to do so. We always had. He's always did.
The only thing for me that bothers me is as they're at that peak of spending money and Andrew Berry's done a nice job of just moving money around, but at some point these guys' contracts will come up. So if you don't do something this year, next year you're going to have to sign some veterans for some high contracts, including the new draft pick you're going to get and all those other things. So it's going to run out of money. In other words, the window will close.
Yeah. But see, and that's the thing. Guys have came to the table, Nick Chubb, and reworked the contracts.
Yep.
Myles Garrett did it too. You know, guys who believe in this system will come and rework their contract, and he'll say, hey, I'll guarantee this money. Again, it's about making those contracts work so that the team can stay good. And if they need to go out there and the staff come to you like, hey, we want to change this, and we're going to bring this guy, but I need you to take this pay cut and take it next year, they'll take a hit for the team.
I'll take a pay cut if we're 15-1. I ain't taking a pay cut if I'm 3-14. Give me my money, baby.
All right, we got a minute here, so I'm going to throw a bomb in this conversation.
I agree.
If they're picking 5th, this is a conversation for later in the year, but I'm going to do it right now. It came up. If they're picking 5th, you take a quarterback.
No. You're not taking a quarterback. It's too unproven. We can't fall in that trap, in my opinion, to try to get the Colt. Let me go down the list. The Colt McCoys, the Charlie Fries.
You lived through that.
I lived through 10, 11 of them. We can't put the stock into that draft too much, and rightfully so, we don't do so, and that's a good thing. Get an offensive lineman. That's who I'm taking. Get a D-line. Get somebody who's going to make a stand and be here for 15 years or so and be a Joe Thomas or a Myles Garrett type figure.
I like what Josh says right there. I'm going to get an inside lineman because everything goes through the offensive, defensive lineman. And another quarterback would maybe be just an unproven guy. We're hoping Deshaun comes around or even just elevates his game a little bit to not put us in situations where we were 1-3 going into playing the Commanders today. And then you got to go to Philadelphia. And then you come home for Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Yeah. Trust me, if you're not ready to play week in and week out with the team that we've put on the field thus far, you could really be in some trouble around week 8 or 9. And I mean bad trouble.
I love Josh's reaction to that question. Fool him once, shame on you. Fool him 15,000 times with rookie quarterbacks.
No,
he ain't get it. Done.
I go get Flacco.
We were all a rookie at some point. We were all a rookie.
1 year. He got 1 year left on his deal, and he's out of there. They could bring Flacco back. All I care.
Hey, is the Browns season over if they lose today? That's the Charter Spectrum vote. Cleveland19.com/vote. We'll talk about it next. The Tailgate live from the Clevelander continues on 19.
Now, the Big Run Report, sponsored by Dunkin'.
All right, before we do a big run report, we're going to make a run at the food here. They brought it out here at the Clevelander, fantastic venue right downtown. We've got Philly egg rolls. That's pretty hard to screw up. It looks like they did a great job there.
Yeah, it won't be here after. So look at it now while you still can.
Because Josh will be making a big run.
It will be missing about this much of it.
I'm going to help you on that. We got a nice veggie pizza over here. That looks outstanding. Look at Reggie. Look at doing it.
There you go.
I'm a big cheese and sausage guy.
And over here we got the Big O burger. This is their signature burger here.
Nice.
And that's probably Big O is the number of cardiologists that approve of that delicious thing, but that's fine by me. The Clevelander right downtown on 9th are fantastic. They also wanted us to let you guys know they got a second floor here. Like, this is a great bar, but if you're looking for a room to rent out or something, they got an upstairs. They can help you out with that kind of thing. Yeah. Come on down. Clevelander's a great place to be when there's an event downtown like a big game. Awesome.
I love the city.
All right, so big run report. We're going to kind of flip it and talk on the defensive side of this. Bobby Wagner still in the league, Commanders linebacker. So many great years in Seattle. How much does that great linebacker impact your preparation to run the ball as an offensive unit?
Well, it definitely affects it because you got to know where he's at, and when we're looking at, if you're an offensive coordinator and you're looking at, you're in an offensive team meeting, you are looking at green dot players that we have to control, players who have to know who are on the field to be able to stop them so they don't make a good play or they don't disrupt your offense, because that's where the head coach comes in at. Hey, your job is to stop this guy, to bottle him up and to contain him throughout the game. So having a guy like that to control your offense as the Mike linebacker, it's a plus for them. But how many Bobby Wagners do they have on their team? Not many, and that is the problem.
A guy like Bobby Wagner has been in a lot of situations, played in big-time football games when he was out in Seattle. And let me tell you, when you got a young team like the Commanders are, he gets everybody in place, knows what everybody's supposed to be. Now, the thing is, we've got those backups. We've had trouble protecting the quarterback. We've had trouble with, what do they call them, games where one guy pushes hard and then another guy loops behind him. And our offensive linemen have not been able to figure out all of those games. So it's going to be a big problem with a guy like Bobby Wagner back there making the calls. They will find our weak spot.
Absolutely.
Then we have to be able to counter. You have to know where you're not good at so that you can counter once they attack it. If you don't, they're going to get you from the flank and you're in trouble. We haven't done well after the first drive.
And like Reggie's saying, this is a game that a guy like Bobby Wagner, he's looking his chops.
Yes.
He's like, they struggle with games and blitzes and stunts, and they're going to try to do that against us. And let's make no bones about it. Bobby Wagner was actually a guy who I was big on trying to get in free agency. I hope that they would get him before he went to the Commanders. He was the guy I wanted the Browns to get.
We've been running this poll the whole show. Is the season over if the Browns lose today, dropping them to 1-4? 82% saying yes. All right, you guys, especially Josh, a little more optimistic sometimes. Sell me on how it's not over if they lose today, because it feels like it is.
Well, again, I'll revert back to the Bengals. They start off the season a lot 0-2, 0-3, and then they'll win a game, and then they'll lose another. They have been 1-4. There have been a lot of 1-4 teams to make good runs late in the year. Not many, but it just makes it harder. It doesn't mean that it's over. It just makes it harder. And maybe, just maybe, the games that they are supposed to win, they've not won early, but now they have to do a little harder work to win the games that we don't think they can win. And that's when it accounts.
I like what Josh says. The thing for me is we just haven't looked good consistently. And some teams can pass the ball or run the ball. I don't think we've done either very successfully. We haven't had any turnovers on defense, no big special teams plays. So there's a lot of areas on our football team that we need to get better. And you can say it's coaching, you could say it's the players. It's a collaboration of a lot of things just not going in our favor, the injuries. So what happens is we draw back, we put our heads together, and we come out firing. And if you come out as a team, all things are possible, because I believe this football team has the talent to play good football, but they just have to execute to get the job done.
We got to make sure that in the end we're still rooting for this team. It's
Absolutely.
the NFL. It's the best of the best. You don't think that the Giants was trying to, take an L. They were thirsty for a win when they beat us. They were a team that was desperate. Maybe that's us now. But But they don't think that the Washington Commanders are going to lay down. Every week, it's a battle for one game, and it's who's going to win, who's good on that day. We may be the better team, but that doesn't matter. Who is better on that day at 1 o'clock when the game comes on?
Now, when you started this season, we were probably expected to be here as a football team because we're coming from the playoffs. And now teams see us here. We're not very good at a lot of things. So we've got to prove to the National Football League one game at a time, one play at a time, and it starts today in Washington. And it's home for us, Josh.
Exactly.
I used to be a fan when I was a kid.
Exactly. A lot of people thought I was going to be at that game. I'm like, no, I was in Vegas. I'm going back to Cleveland for this game. I'm in Cleveland.
It's good to have you in person for the show.
Exactly.
The pool cabana.
It's not a pool area behind me this time.
No, but we're at the Clevelander, and the Clevelander has been fantastic for us. You saw the slate here on 19. That the Bengals-Ravens game. Boy, if the Bengals win that this division gets pretty muddy. You know what I mean?
It's the way it's going to be. It's always been like that.
They have to just finish strong. That's what it's all about. Finish strong.
Finish strong.
Regardless of this game, win the division.
We should point out it's our first fifth quarter of the year. It's on CW 43. It is after the game. So when the Browns game is over, click over to 43, and we got some post-game coverage as well. The crew will be back. Thanks for joining us here. Thank you to the Clevelander for having us. It's been outstanding. For Josh Cribbs, Reggie Langhorne, I'm Mark Schwab.
Go Dogs.